Okay, I went and see somebody. Whoops, not him. Okay, I want to discuss an issue. My God, this is what, twice in 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have a clue what I'm going to ask you. Harbour Bridge.
Yes.
Now, you were involved in Harbour Bridge a long time.
I was.
Now, I'm going to tell you, you remember the great Lou Murphy.
I do.
Lou Murphy, when he died, I was at
his funeral.
At the funeral in St. Rose Church, it was in Milford.
Yep.
There was a reception afterward. The famous Doug Young was there.
Oh yes.
And Frank McKenna.
Yes.
So I arrived there and I said, "Hey, okay, guys, when are we going to rename the Harbour Bridge to the Lou Murphy Bridge and remove the tolls?" Doug Young told Frank McKenna. Frank McKenna said, "Well, that's a good idea. There's Doug Young right here." Doug Young said, "Well, if you want to take responsibility of the bridge, no problem." Now, this was about 15 years ago.
It wasn't quite that long, but...
no, 10 years, 10 years.
Yeah, well, whenever, yeah, it might have been, you know what, Charlie, it might have been 15 years ago now that Lou Murphy died.
How time flies.
Yeah.
Okay, so, now we're here.
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, I think the same thing would occur. It's going to be a fight with the feds and the province on who takes responsibility. And the fact is, right now, it's a federal responsibility, and
that's lots of money.
Lots of money, and so. I have no problem taking the tolls off. I understand what Rodney wants to do there, but Rodney can't just make a federal election campaign promise to say he's going to take the tolls off, and then look at the province and say, "Fix it for me." You know, I mean, he's got to come to the table with money so that the province isn't impacted on taking over the bridge. We'll take over the bridge. We've already told them we'll take over the bridge, but there's a cost associated.
But that's a lot of money. You were in charge of Harbour Bridge. You know how much money it costs a year to maintain it.
It's a little different now because the tolls have gone up. But when I was there, when the tolls were 25 cents, the bridge brought in about $2.5 million a year in revenue. And the way it was split out, it was about $500,000 it cost for the jobs there, the toll collection and the jobs that were there. It was about $1 million that went every year on maintenance of the bridge, and about $1 million a year went back to pay back the federal debt. That's the way it worked out. I left there in 2002, so you know that's 8 years ago. So I'm sure it's different now, but back then it was roughly $500,000 in salaries and toll collection, $1 million for maintenance every year, and $1 million.
And prices went up with the tolls went up.
Yeah, sure, and more maintenance is required now. The bridge is getting older. You know, the bridge is 40 years old. 42 years old, and so when you have an infrastructure that old, there's more maintenance required, and right now $35 million worth of maintenance is required right away.
But is this just a way for the federal government to get rid of the responsibility of the bridge?
It's a unique situation in that the feds have never paid a dime towards it. The feds have never ever put any money into the bridge. The tolls always managed that. You know, it's a self-sustaining bridge. The tolls always looked after all the needs of the bridge, and will in the future, or still will. The issue is that Rodney wants to take those tolls off.
And sure, you want the tolls off.
Sure, I don't have any issue with that at all. Look, I believe in user pay. You know, I've got an aunt that lives over in the North End that doesn't own a car. So she doesn't pay anything towards that bridge, nor should she. But if it reverts to the provincial government and we have to use tax dollars to maintain that bridge, then my aunt's paying for that bridge and she doesn't even own a car. So, you know, I'm kind of betwixt and between, and to be honest with you, would I like to see the tolls come off? I don't have any issue with the tolls coming off if Rodney wants to take them off, but he's got to come to the table with a pot of money.
So what's the bottom line? Right now, they offer $40 million?
Well, not really, Charles. What Rodney's offering is to wipe out the $22 million in debt and put $17 million on the table. The $22 million in debt that he wants to wipe off, as far as I'm concerned, should have been wiped off a long time ago. The St. Johners, or folks that use that bridge every day, have already paid for that bridge. That bridge, when it was originally built, cost $18 million to build. We've paid back more than $18 million already to the feds. The problem is now that there's interest on that. And so I don't believe that people that use that bridge should have to pay that interest. I just don't. And so to me, that $22 million should be gone anyway. Then the issue becomes, okay, if that debt is gone, then who's going to pay for the maintenance moving forward? And maintenance is a lot of money. And so there's two ways that could happen. One is you could leave the tolls on and let the tolls pay for that maintenance, or the federal government can come to the table with a pot of money.
And we're talking about lots of money here.
Yeah, well, certainly the engineering report that the Harbour Bridge had done had suggested that it's going to require $150 million worth of work over the life of that bridge, and so it's a lot of money.
And this is a small province.
It is. The province is 756,000 people.
That's good. Okay, now I think we're starting to
Fini, puis qui arrête de mettre le bois dans les roues.
Mais ça fait tout le temps de même?
Ça a tout le temps de même, mais ça change. À l'école, ben là, on run depuis quand même. Puis en santé, on va faire la même affaire. Puis, sauf qu'avec le leadership politique qu'on a ici actuellement, c'est pas toujours évident. Hein?
Y a-t-il un bon leadership politique dans cette province?
Il n'y en a pas. Ni au Nouveau-Brunswick, ni au Canada.
So, comment de membres?
Ben, on a toujours 20 000 membres. Il faut aller sur notre site www.saintb.ca.